We're here at Tom Burke's, a pioneer in the reptile breeding industry. He's been producing unique snakes for over 30 years, and he was kind enough to invite my wife Amanda and me out to his home and facility in eastern Long Island, where we got a rare glimpse into the success of Tom's boa constrictor passion. Get ready to check out some of the most impressive blood and leopard albino boas in the business. We're downstairs here in the basement dungeon of Tom Burke here. You're right in my backyard here in Long Island, and you got such a terrific collection here. And I'd love for you to show us some of your stuff. I mean, you're like the leopard albino guy. I mean, I've seen some amazing snakes here. Show us some of the stuff you're the most proud about, I guess.
Well,
I love this snake, first of all, and this is not even a visual, but you got some amazing stuff.
Het-BLOOD.
Show us the snake. This is a Sunglow albino.
No, Sunglow Het-BLOOD.
Het-BLOOD.
Well, it's
an albino.
It's a HYPO albino.
But it's got no blood. It's a carrier for blood, but yet
Right.
it
No
looks
visual
so
blood.
red, this snake. It's just exquisite. I mean, did you hand pick this out of a litter?
No, it's what got left over. Nobody bought it.
No one bought it, so that's what you breed.
I'm basically like a prostitute. If you pay me enough, you can buy anything. So,
Most people keep the best stuff for themselves, though.
well, I look at it this way. That when this was a baby, it was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're paying and you like, I mean, I don't differentiate between it, so they all look good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you liked one over the other and you were paying the price, you pick out what you want. I'm not really picky.
Now is it a difference for you? Because this snake breeding now is a full-time job for you now. You retired from your regular job. Do you enjoy it more now because you have more time to give to it, or are you bored more?
No, that's a funny question because I would like to retire from this too, but it's a business you can't retire from.
This is your passion, though. How could you? Give it up.
I do like, I mean, there are certain aspects of it that I would miss, but I've been doing this for like over 30 years.
Wow.
So it's, like the new things, like when I first produced blood albinos, the first leopard sunglows, those were excitement and exciting, So that's kind of what keeps you going.
Let's see some of those. Show us some of the babies you got, because you got some beauts.
Wow. This is one that I did pick out.
Oh, wow. Look at that head.
This is a visual. Pull it out.
Yeah. That head is amazing, Tom. I've never seen one with such a red head. That is a visual
blood albino. There's no hypo in that.
And usually when the boas get bigger, they lose some of their color. This thing is just, look at that head. I don't think I've ever seen a solid head like that.
Yeah. It did lose, there was more color in the tail section, and that, and I was explaining to you before that's kind of the difference between the Sunglow blood and the albino blood. As babies, they have the color in the tail, and they kind of lose it as they're maturing. Where the Sunglow bloods, which I don't have any right now, kind of keep that. And so the color, they don't have the distinct pattern that everybody likes when they're small, but as they mature, Sunglow blood just becomes basically like the front of this, but almost like a solid color.
And a Sunglow blood just has the hypo gene added to it.
Just the hypo gene.
So it's hypo albino blood.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Show us some of the little ones you got. You got some really cool ones.
This is a blood albino.
This is a blood albino, and I mean, you could I actually, to be honest with you, I like the blood albinos better than the Sunglow albinos.
Right.
I feel like there's more color in there. I like that it has more red almost.
Mm-hmm. And you see the pattern better.
Yeah.
And the contrast in the pattern.
The white and the red in here is just amazing.
But you can even see, like on this, how the back section is losing the color.
Yeah, so it kind of gets a little duller as it gets bigger.
Yeah, I think it all moves to their head.
There you go. Show us, let's get a leopard albino to contrast with this, because I think that people want to see the difference.
These are two leopard albinos.
So that's a leopard albino, and this is obviously the blood albino. Have you tried to breed these two together yet?
No.
It hasn't happened yet. No one's done that, as we know of.
Not as far as I know. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
But, and that's the value of the visuals. You could take a visual leopard sunglow and a visual blood albino, a blood sunglow, and in one shot, I could make albinos and sunglows 100% het leopard and 100% het
I think that's going to be the next move, Tom. Now, it's interesting because the leopard albinos tend to have much more variation in their pattern. It's like, I think you had once said to me, no two are the same.
Right.
And whereas the blood albinos seem to be a little bit more standard, would you say?
No, I think, well, I mean, the variation, I think, is in the color, the intensity of the color, and they all will show a pattern, and obviously the patterns are similar, but the color variation, what, are you kidding?
He's a little feisty today, this guy. A little feisty. He's all lessed up, yeah.
Let me show you a leopard sunglow.
Let's see a leopard sunglow, which would have the added HYPO gene in there. Whoa, this guy is a little feisty. Someone's going to get bit before it's all over. I'm going to put this down. Yeah, I'm going to hold him because I have much more likely chance of getting bit that way. And Amanda likes when I get bit.
And these are leopard sunglows.
Oops, I got bit. Got me. So now this is the HYPO gene with the leopard with the albino. For some reason in these, it makes them much more orangey red.
Yeah.
So this snake, what would a snake like this go for if someone wanted to buy one?
They go for between $4,000 and $5,000 today.
That's a nice value. I think you get a lot. I mean, they almost look alike. I mean, they almost have a very similar look to them.
These have been produced longer. There's been more of them produced. There's some of these in Europe. There's some of those in Europe as well.
Right.
But these I've been producing leopard sunglows probably for 5 years now.
Wow. Now, do you only work with the KAHL albino strain?
Yes. Other than I do have some VPI stuff, but that's fairly new for me. Everything else is, and at this point, everything is from my lipstick line. The lipstick line is my line of KAHL strain albino, for lack of a better description. And so I've just found it to be, it didn't make any sense for me not to use lipstick line anywhere.
Lipstick line, it looks like someone actually wrote with lipstick when they're born on them, the reds.
Yeah, I mean, they have a look, but they also, and again, I think that's part of what attracts people initially, but at this point, many people realize that it benefits their breeding program because they actually reproduce what they look like. So, it's great having a great looking male or female, but it's even more important to have it passed on to the babies that you produce with those.
Now show us a HYPO leopard, because the HYPO leopard has the HYPO gene in it. It has the leopard gene, but it doesn't have the albino, and they're pretty exquisitely red. I mean, they're just most people think that there's way more in them than just the HYPO.
This one's going into a shed, but you can see the cool pattern.
Now, this is just, I mean, just adding that HYPO gene, which takes a little bit of black out of it, has made this snake so red that I would almost, if you didn't know, you would almost say that this is a blood.
It's funny, when I first produced the HYPO leopard, God, I don't even know, it was a while back. I was at Daytona, and I had, it's got to be 6 years, because that's how long it's been. 2009. All right.
There's another one, which is just such a variation that you can see in the leopard gene.
And what it was is in 2009, I was in Daytona, and I had put the HYPO leopards out on a table along with the two blood albinos that were blood sunglow and blood albino, and everybody thought the HYPO leopards were also bloods. They were that red.
I mean, that's amazing. I'm sure when it's born, it's probably even redder, right?
Oh yeah. Well, this one's actually in a shed. She's going into a shed.
Yeah. And once again, you can see the variation. This is both HYPO leopards, and this one has a tremendous amount more pattern. This is more.
I call this the carnation. It's got like flowers on it.
Is there a way to get a more patternless one? Is there some kind of cues that you look for when you breed them?
No, because you find the whole gamut in a litter. I mean, these some of them will have hardly any pattern. Some will have this much pattern, and some will be in between. But it's all in the same litter. There's not even but I mean, like anything else, if you took the patternless one and kept breeding them back, I'm sure you could eventually reduce the pattern.
Right. I mean, could you think you can make a solid reddish snake with this HYPO leopard? He's getting interested. That guy got his mind going now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could. It's just going to take a while, and because it's not a genetic trait. It's going to have to be a slow process of just eliminating the pattern. Although, when you make a super HYPO, I would expect the pattern to be further reduced.
Have you done that yet?
No.
Okay, so that might make a much more patternless snake.
Right.
Well, if anyone wants to get in touch with any of and purchase any of Tom's reptiles, he's got a great Facebook page, Burke Reptiles. Check it out, and that's the only thing you do on the computer. You told me, right? You're not that computer savvy.
I can turn it on.
You texted me today, so that's impressive.
I can text, but that's only been a new talent I've recently discovered. But after much badgering by my 2 kids.
Tom, thank you for having us here.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.